arrested 4 more Chinese nationals in suspicion of involvement in the gold smuggling case. In this edition of Kantipur News, we also have updates about the government preparation to revise the security arrangements at the Trivandrum International Airport and the burden on the state coffers despite no parliament meetings. Good morning, I'm Prarambha, Dahal. Let's begin with the main stories. Local residents of Karnali facing several problems with no flights in 2 weeks. Chartered flights also prohibited because of weather conditions. 700,000 rupees being spent every day even with no parliament meetings held because of CPNUML's obstruction. State coffers being depleted because of political motives. More than 60 people feared dead after a boat carrying mostly Senegalese migrants capsizes off the coast of Cape Verde in the Atlantic Ocean. And Manchester City of England defeats Sevilla of Spain 5-4 on penalties after they drew 1-1 to win the UEFA Super Cup for the first time in their history. Local residents of Karnali have been facing several challenges and complications as flights have not operated for around 2 weeks. Flights have not taken place in airports of Mugu, Humla, Dolpa and Jumla among other locations. Passengers and patients have been compelled to bear the brunt in absence of the flights. With the objective of curbing risks, the Civil Aviation Authority of Nepal (CAN) had implemented the rule which prohibits commercial flights from taking place after 12:30 p.m. at 29 airports from the 31st of July. The local residents have shared their grievances regarding this issue. Despite one flight of Tara Air from Nepalganj to Dolpa providing some respite following improvement in the weather condition yesterday, regular flights remain uncertain. The local residents have been at the receiving end as the only reliable and quick mode of travel of Karnali, aviation services have been affected. 4 babies had died in the previous week as they did not receive timely treatment because the flights did not take place. Many patients are still being deprived of their right to health services and access to well-facilitated hospitals in urban areas. Now, Nepal police has arrested 4 more Chinese nationals in connection with the gold smuggling case. This is the first arrest made after the Central Investigation Bureau (CIB) took charge of the case from the Department of Revenue Investigation. The 4 arrested reportedly were directly in contact with the Ready Traders Company and Thupten Chireng and Dawa, who are in police custody. Earlier, the Department of Immigration had blacklisted a few Chinese nationals who were in contact with Belgian national Dawa. Last week, 2 Chinese nationals from the blacklist were arrested but were later released after the CIB concluded that they had no involvement in the smuggling case. So far, 22 individuals have been arrested for their alleged involvement in the scandal, including 17 Nepali nationals. In the wake of the recent gold smuggling from the Trivandrum International Airport, Prime Minister Dahal has said that changes should be made to the airport security management and that a task force will be formed to consult with relevant experts for necessary recommendations. A meeting was held in Singha Darbar yesterday to discuss on the airport security management, and the strategies concluded that the government should initiate efforts to deal with security lapses. In the same context, Finance Minister Prakash Mahath said that coordination among state entities was a must to ensure effective security mechanism. A 9-year-old boy has died because of dengue infection in Dharan, taking the death toll to 12. The minor had been taken to Dharan's BP Koirala Institute of Health Sciences 2 days ago after reporting of high fever. However, he was referred to Biratnagar's big hospital due to lack of ICU beds. 71% of those who test for dengue have returned positive in Dharan. All 20 wards of Dharan have reported of the mosquito-borne infection. The BPKIHS has been struggling to accommodate the rising number of dengue patients. Majority of the wards in the sub-metropolis have been operating health camps of their own, considering the rising number of infections, which still remains inadequate. Now, meanwhile, health experts say the lack of coordination among the 3 tiers of the government has resulted in the failure to contain the spread. And despite the government formulating a work plan to control the alarming spread of dengue, including the rules of all 3 tiers of the federal, provincial and local levels, complications have surfaced in curbing the infections. On the basis of the National Guidelines on Dengue Prevention, Management and Control 2019, the government had formulated a work plan for the fiscal year 2023-24. However, more than 12,000 have been infected with dengue in the period of just a month and a half, while 12 deaths have been confirmed so far. The highest number of infections have been reported in Sunsari, Morong, Dhading, Jhapa and Kaski. In such a situation, saying the local and provincial governments have a larger role to play in curbing the spread of dengue, the federal government has been shying away from its responsibilities. Dengue infections have been reported in 74 districts so far. Identifying annual risks of dengue infections, the Epidemiology and Disease Control Division has said that efforts were underway to formulate long-term strategies to curb its spread. It is now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
The question is, why has the government effort to control the spread of dengue not been effective? Your options are A. Lack of coordination, B. Inadequate human resource, and C. Lack of awareness. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. The federal parliament has been rendered ineffective since the 26th of July amid obstructions by main opposition CPN-UML with its demands for formation of a high-level committee to probe into the gold smuggling scandal. However, despite the meetings being adjourned several times, lawmakers have continued to receive allowances and facilities with sum of 4 millions of rupees off the state coffers. 48 meetings of the House of Representatives have been held so far since the ongoing session of the Parliament began on the 7th of May. Of them, 5 of the recent meetings were adjourned amid the main opposition's obstruction, taking the number of total meetings adjourned for various reasons in the ongoing session to 9. And despite the meetings being adjourned, lawmakers are still receiving a daily allowance of 2,000 rupees. The Parliament Secretariat has also been issuing expenses under the headings of electricity, water, stationery items, security and health, among others. It is estimated that the expense for each meeting totals around 700,000 rupees, which includes preparations for the meeting, allowances for the parliamentarians, transportation facilities and security. In this scenario, questions have been raised over the ethics of the parliamentarians who, without producing any result, are depleting the state coffers. A few parties like the Rashtriya Swatantra Party, meanwhile, have announced that they will not take allowances as the parliament meetings are not being held, which the observers say has set an example for the other parties as well. In our Public Voice segment, we have asked in several provinces regarding the local government's failure in utilizing the budget as per their plans. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
निर्माण व्यवसायहरू चाहिँ समयमै काम नगर्दाले अनि बजेटहरू खर्च चाहिँ हुन नसकेको अवस्था छ।
नेतृत्व गर्ने सक्षम पढे लेखेको र एउटा नेतृत्व दिन सक्ने खुबी भएको मान्छे चाहिँ त्यो ठाउँमा नराखेको हुनाले एउटा साधारण एउटा बजेट खर्च पनि सिस्टमेटिक हिसाबले खर्च भएको छैन।
केन्द्रका मान्छेहरूको चाहिँ प्रतिनिधिहरूको उनीहरूले आफ्नो आवश्यकताको आधारमा चाहिँ योजना निर्माण गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ त्यो फिल्डमा हिँड्दाखेरि त्यो योजना चाहिँ प्रभावकारी रूपले कार्यान्वयन हुन समस्या देख्यो।
गाउँमा अब जनताहरूले अब थाहा हुनुहुन्न नि बजेटहरू अब कतिपय समयमा आयो के गर्यो भन्ने ती कारणले गर्दा पनि
योजनाहरूको लागि चाहिँ बजेट हुँदा हुँदै पनि समयमै ठेक्का प्रक्रिया अथवा निर्माण प्रक्रिया अगाडि नबढ्नु।
And now before we wrap up, here's a look into the top stories one more time. Local residents of Karnali facing several problems with no flights in 2 weeks. Chartered flights also prohibited because of weather conditions. 700,000 rupees being spent every day, even with no parliament meetings held because of CPN-UML's obstructions. State coffers being depleted because of political motives. More than 60 people feared dead after a boat carrying mostly Senegalese migrants capsizes off the coast of Cape Verde in the Atlantic Ocean. And Manchester City of England defeats Sevilla of Spain 5-4 on penalties after they draw 1-1 to win the UEFA Super Cup for the first time in their history. So that is all for the moment. Our next English bulletin airs at 6 p.m. Thank you for staying with us. Have a beautiful day ahead.